Hey, Soleil, and right now I am on a 30 minutes unpaid break. And so today I'm here at Birkdale Community Center. I'm teaching piano with the City of Toronto, and I think it's one of my longest piano shifts. I'm here until from 10 o'clock to 4:30. I think yes, 4:30. That is the end of my shift, and so I enjoy the shift. I enjoy working at the center. The CRP is good, and I like the community around here. I think most of the kids are pretty good that I get. I mean, my voice has gotten kind of used to this now. It's not as sore, but I've also been drinking water and I've basically gotten through a lot of my bottle down here already. So, yeah. First class was great. It's a really good class. Very young kids, and they all listened. I didn't have any of those disruptors in my class. No kids being extra silly or unfocused. Second class, bit more hectic, I guess. I feel like I like the smaller classes. It's because I can focus in on these kids and focus in on working with them and giving each of them more time, right? That's I feel like a benefit to a lot of these kids. When I have a bigger class, it's hard. You got to go around to a lot of people. Also, these pianos, they don't have headphone jacks. Not that I know. Some of them do maybe, but it's usually pretty loud. And when you have more kids, right, it gets quite loud when you have like 6 people playing all at once. And you know, some kids they'll listen, they'll be very focused, they'll practice when I leave them alone. They have good like self-discipline or independent work. And then some kids, I leave them alone and they'll just start going off and playing random stuff. So it's like you get a variety of kids, and you just need to be able to deal with different types of kids and different types of learning styles. As I was saying in my second class, there's some kids who are better, and so they get bored of the activities we're doing. And then there's some kids who are just starting, and so they are gonna be playing their songs. But some kids that are just starting, they kind of get bored also of just playing their songs, because I had to move around and work with each of them, right? So it's hard. It's like you gotta balance all these things. You gotta be adaptable on the fly, especially if you get these advanced kids. You gotta challenge these people so they're not getting bored so easily. So it's a lot to think about when you're teaching any class in general. But I find it more in piano, because I do teach swim and skate, and for those ones usually the kids are pretty much in the level, and I think that's because there's more options for levels. In here it's only beginner, intermediate, advanced. And so when I teach my advanced class, that level is way out in terms of skill level. It's such a wide range for that class. I'll get kids who shouldn't be in that level, like beginners, and then I'll get advanced kids who like know how to sight read and everything. Not so advanced, but a lot of these kids, they have their own books and they've been playing some of it, and so there's that balance that I need to do where we're working on the course material that's presented in the city, and also a bit on some of theirs, so that they don't feel like they're wasting their time here. They feel like they're getting something out of these classes, right? And I think that's what's important, making sure these kids get something out of the class. And also the parents, like if they're not getting the parents are the ones who make the final decision, of course. They're the ones who bring their kids here. They want them to learn, right? So if the parents are not happy, they're just not gonna bring their kids here, which it gives me a smaller class to deal with. It could be a good thing, but also at the same time, it's just that these kids that's on me as an instructor. That means I didn't find how to challenge these kids and figure out, how to help these kids. So, and you can see the camera just slowly going down as my arm gets tired. But I just need to figure that out, and it only comes with like experience and teaching experience, until you can like just perfect it and be able to get them on the fly. It gets pretty hectic in the first class, trying to figure out where kids' skill levels are, and trying to teach, like if you're teaching a class of varying skill levels, you're teaching part of the class and the other part, it's like different things. So yeah, and then afternoon I have an adult class. Usually the adults are great because they're here. They took their time to come here and learn, and so they're focused, and we can get through a lot of things, all right? And they understand and they pick up on things quicker. And then last, I think I have another child class. So we'll see how that goes. It's usually like hit or miss with a class. Like you don't know if you're gonna get a super good class that's super focused, or a class that's like just wild and they just wanna, run around and everything. I've had classes like that where kids just wanna run around, and I feel like I'm more like a daycare than a piano teacher. But and then you sometimes get the balance, and then it's like you have to keep some kids focused, and then some kids they're just on their own, and they can get through a bunch of it. But it's fun. It's fun teaching piano, and I really enjoy it, and it's definitely a rewarding job that I do. Rewarding, one of my more rewarding positions, I guess. So yeah, that's how I feel on teaching piano. All right, I'm gonna have lunch right now, and then I'll get back to teaching classes, go home, do some homework in my school, and then restart next week. All right, I'll see you. It's so late, and so I am finished with my piano classes here, teaching piano classes, and it was a pretty good day. It's a long day, but a pretty good day. The sun was up when I started, and I saw the sun change all the way, and now it's like almost sunset. And so my second two classes after lunch, they balance each other out, I gotta say. The children's class, the child class before that, it's a bit hectic, all right? It's a bit hectic. The kids are very energetic in the class, so they're like everywhere. But I set the rules. You always need to do that. You always need to set the rules at the beginning, so that you can follow them and enforce them throughout, right? And so class is pretty hectic. But one thing I just want to mention is that the thing is, you don't want to stress over these classes because they're kids, all right? So sure, you want them to play piano, but a lot of them, you can't really force them. They're not your kids, and their parents are bringing them here, and if you force them, it might not end well for you, because you're gonna have kids crying, you're gonna have kids, it might even be worse. So just let them give them free will to an extent, but you're not trying to just like force them and that they have to learn this. If they don't want to learn it, that's really their choice. They don't want to learn it, and so you're here not to force them to do something. You're here to teach them. You're here to guide them in something that they'll choose if they want to learn or not, right? And so don't get too stressed on. This is one thing, like at first, this was me until I kind of taught more and got more experience, is that don't be too stressed on not getting through everything in your lesson plan. There's classes I get through more than my lesson plan, and there's classes that I just don't get through, even half of the lesson plan sometimes, because of the attention and the energy in the room, right? It depends on that, how much the kids can focus and get through everything. In some of my lessons, maybe I did schedule too much, right? And then you kind of just adjust from there, right? Depending on the level. But the lesson plans are more or less a guide for you to stay there and just kind of guide you through if you ever need to refer to them. But just kind of go through things, and you don't want to rush through something that you're teaching just because you're trying to get through stuff. If they don't understand, you want to spend the time, you want to take the time on that thing, especially when you're learning how to read notes maybe. And that's something kids, like, they don't really want to learn, because it means sitting there and listening and watching how to do it, right? It's not playing, actually. So that's one of the things where you might have to spend more time on it. And don't be afraid to spend 1 or 2 classes even on that, right? If you really want them to get that, because that's one of the fundamental skills. Reading notes, once they can read notes, they basically don't really need you as much, right? They can even just like go out on their own and just take songs they like, start playing them. So on those important things, don't just brush over them. Teach them that, so that you're not having, you know, kids go to the end of class where they really learn nothing and they can't detach from your class and go out on their own and be, how do I say it, self-reliant, right? Yeah, you want to have them, you know, teach them something, and then it looks good with the parents also, right? That you taught them something. As long as they take like one thing away from your class and it is something that's impactful, that's good. Okay, so don't get too held up on following your lesson plans. Second class, adults. Usually, as I said, adults are here to learn, they want to learn, and so they're always really focused. And that class was great. That was really good. It was a full class also. So I start with a great class, and with a great class, it's pretty nice, right? And of course, it's just, of course, it's gonna be random. Like, you don't know what students you're gonna get. You don't know what kids you're gonna deal with. You don't know what adults you're gonna deal with. You don't know what students you're gonna get. So you just gotta always be adaptable and just be ready. Give everyone the same amount of effort and attention, right? Give each class, you know, you might not like this class as much as these other ones, right? Everyone has their preferences, of course, but always just be there. You're there to do a job. You're there to teach these your students, and make sure they're coming out of your class learning something, right? A lot of these, I'm teaching beginner classes, a lot of these people, it's their first impression on piano, and it's gonna decide if they want to continue with it or if they don't. So you make a big impact at the start, right? Okay, so that's all I gotta say for today. But yeah, it's a great set of classes today. I really enjoyed working here, and I really enjoyed being a piano teacher. Great. Take care. See ya.